Hello everyone. So today I'm back with my third class, and today's class is all about biodiversity and its conservation. So this is a very important topic. There are very small questions that can come from this topic for your medical exams. So let's start the chapter. So what do you understand by biodiversity? See, the name itself says biodiversity. So when there is a diversity in not just species level but also in other biological organization. Okay, so when there is a diversity, it is known as biodiversity. That means there are diverse nature of the biological organization. So there is a sociobiologist named as Edward Wilson. He said that the biodiversity, like the biological organization is a lot of diverse, but there are main like three sections, like levels you can say, where diversity is more. He has described the three levels as in species level, in genetic level, and also in ecosystem level. In species, when we talk about genetic level, so what is genetic level? So there are so many types of, so many species of mango, right? So many species of rice we have. But when there is a more diverse on the basis of genetic level, that means there are more strains. Okay, even in rice, suppose in rice there are so many types of rice, we know that it's diverse, like so many types of rice varieties are there. But even in that level there are many different strains, okay, in genetic level. So when there is a diversity in such level, it's known as the genetic level diversity. So next is species level. So when there's a diversity in species level, an example we can take of amphibian species, as it's also given in your NCERT book. So in Western Ghats also amphibian species are found, and also in Eastern Ghats it's found. But if you see in Western Ghats, it is more diverse than the Eastern Ghats. So this is on species level, and third is based on your ecosystem level, also known as, also you can see, ecological biodiversity. So that means if you look around us, there are so many types of like ecosystem, right? The rainforest is there, grasslands is there, deserts are there. So when on that level, when there is a diversity, then it's known as ecosystem level of biodiversity. So in this chapter there is not much like diagrammatic explanation is not there much, but I can just give you some flow charts, like how I'll explain you. I can explain by through some flowcharts, and also during the class I will be telling you some point-wise important questions, one word question or one line questions, which may come for your exams. You can note it down. Okay, so let's move on toward the flowchart way of study. Okay, let's first start with the biodiversity that's present in Earth. So in Earth, the biodiversity, okay, it is divided into two parts. That is 70% is of animals, and more than 22% is of plants. Okay, so in animals itself, insects are the species which form the richest group. So that means in the 70%, insects only constitute more than 70% of the animal group. Okay, so, and regarding plants, in plants, like we can take as out here algae, fungi, bryophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Okay, and also as per Robert May, the global species diversity is about 7 million. These are just one line question or one word a question that can come for your exam. Also the full form of IUCN that you should remember, that is the International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. International Union for Conservation of nature and natural resources. Okay, so these two things you should remember. Now next we'll move on to the patterns of biodiversity. So here we'll talk about the patterns. So now how many patterns are there of biodiversity? So there are two types, okay? So there are two patterns of biodiversity. So one is latitudinal and the other is species area relationships. So out here, what is this? See, the diversity of plants and animals is not same throughout the world, okay? So there is an uneven distribution. So like if we see on the basis of location, then we can see that as and as we move away from the equator towards the pole, then the species diversity decreases. Now example, if we take in tropical and temperate regions, we can see that in tropical regions the diversity is more than the temperate regions. Here it is lesser. Okay, so why is this? Why does tropic harbor more biodiversity than any other regions? That is because there are some points that I would like to note. Like I would like you to note down. The one is speciation. Okay, this is a reason why the tropics have more biodiversity. So speciation. What is speciation out here? That is that the regions out here are undisturbed. Okay, the regions are undisturbed. Therefore, they have a long evolutionary time, and that is the reason. One reason why there is a lot of diversity in the species level. Species diversification. Okay. Number 2 point is the tropic regions are less seasonal. So since they are less seasonal, that means they are more constant and since the environment is constant, it promotes more niche specialization and also it leads to greater species diversity. Number 3 is solar energy availability. Okay. Solar energy availability. So in tropical region, the solar energy is more available. Therefore, it contributes to higher productivity and also greater diversity. So this is all about the latitudinal pattern of biodiversity. Also to note here, if a very good example is of Amazon. Okay, the Amazon forest. So this Amazon forest, this has the greatest biodiversity on earth. Okay, this is also a tropical rainforest. So this is one example. Now let's move on to the next one, that is your species area relationship. I think I'll change the pen. Species area relationship. So what is happening in species area relationship? So Alexander von Humboldt, okay, Alexander von Humboldt, he said that within a region, if the area is increasing, then the species richness will also increase, but it will increase only to a certain limit. Okay, so he has explained that with the help of a graph. Okay. So he has said, he has given this. Okay, so it has been seen that this graph, okay, this relation between the species richness and area, okay, for maximum like for most of the taxa, like your angiospermic plants, birds, and bats, fishes, it is a rectangular hyperbola. Okay, rectangular, this is also one type of question which you should remember, rectangular hyperbola. But when we see it in a logarithmic scale, okay, on a logarithmic scale, okay, just let me give you this one. This is area, okay, and this is the species richness. Okay, so on a logarithmic scale, this relationship has been described by an equation. Okay, the equation is log, remember this equation also, it may come log S log C plus Z log A. Okay, so out here what does log S stands for? This is species richness. Okay, what does C stands out here? This is the Y intercept. Okay, and what does Z stands for? Z stands for the slope of the line. Okay, and A out here is area. Okay, so now what is the importance of the species richness? Okay, the importance out here is it helps in the survival of human race. Okay, there are 3 advantages. So 3 advantages are survival of human race, okay, this is number 1. Number 2 out here is, that is, this rich biodiversity is important for ecosystem health. Okay, so number 2 is ecosystem health, and number 3 out here is that this will affect our health, our life in a long run, because as we know that if we remove a species, then we will lead it to get extinct, and if it get extinct, then the ecosystem also will become weak. So number 3 is affect our life. Okay, these 3 are the importance of species richness. So there's an ecologist known as Paul Ehrlich. He has given a, so this is again very important. Okay, Paul Ehrlich, he has given the famous river poppet hypothesis. Okay, so out here he is saying that, so just remove this keyboard. Okay, so just remember this, that he has given this river puppet hypothesis. So what is this hypothesis? Okay, he said that if we consider an airplane, okay, he has said that consider this airplane as ecosystem, and the parts of this aeroplane which are joined by using thousands of rivets. So you can take rivets as species. So he's saying that suppose if we remove one or two rivets, then the aeroplane will not be affected, the safety will not be affected. But if we remove many rivets from it, then what will happen? Then the aeroplane will become weak. Similarly, if we remove species from in an ecosystem, one or two is okay, but if we remove more species, then it will lead to the extinction. Okay, the ecosystem will become weak and it will lead to extinction. Okay, therefore this is the hypothesis that he has given. Okay, so another one, IUCN. Okay, so if you see IUCN red list, this is another important question. This is one question that you should remember. Okay, and this is another question you should remember out here. So in IUCN red list, there are 784 species. Okay, among which 338 is vertebrates, 359 is invertebrates, and 87 are plants. Okay, so this is till here we'll do the first part. In the second part we'll continue with the biodiversity losses, effect of biodiversity loss, the causes of biodiversity loss, and the conservation. Okay.